Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Monday, the 12th of February. Good to have you aboard, part of the Believe Podcast Network, and presented as always by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. So glad to have you here with us to get our week started together. And of course, the Kansas City Chiefs are your back-to-back Super Bowl champions. That's our main story for the show today. And hey, just because football is over doesn't mean that we don't still have all the action out there. We got the NBA, we got the NHL. Bet Online is your number one destination for all your sports wagering info with up-to-the-minute sports wagering news, odds, trends, predictions. Bet Online is the top spot for everything pro and amateur sports, and not just for the big four major sports here in North America. Bet Online has info available at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access at any time for almost any sport that's played. That includes MMA, international soccer, little bit of WWE. Head to Bet Online today. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. So, you had a great second half, a ton of drama yesterday with the Super Bowl. I got up at halftime, and I don't even, what was the score at halftime yesterday? It was such a bore, this game in the first half. The whole point is, I got up at halftime. I said to my wife as I'm walking to the bathroom, and because here's the thing, right? The Super Bowl, and by the way, score was 10-3 San Francisco at halftime. But with the Super Bowl, because we all want to watch the commercials, we got the halftime show, you don't want to miss anything. When can we get up? When can I get up and go to the bathroom? You're sitting on the couch for like 5 straight hours. Anyway, I get up to go to the bathroom right before Usher's going to perform. And I say to my wife, I go, this game fucking sucks. Let's be honest here. This game is the drizzling shits. And then we come back for the second. She's like, yeah, it's terrible. We come back for the second half. I had a fun experience, by the way, watching the game last night. My older son, he went and watched with his friends. So it was me, my wife, and my younger son, who was really into the game. But my younger son, he's the opposite of all the Swifties. You know, the Taylor Swift and her presence has brought all the Swifties to watch in the NFL. And they're engaged, and they're learning about football, and they love Travis Kelce, and they're rooting for the Chiefs. My 12-year-old son, he's been the opposite. He's engaged because he's rooting against Taylor Swift. He hates all the Taylor Swift coverage. He's rooting hard against the Kansas City Chiefs. So my son was way into the game, but he's rooting hard for the 49ers. Doesn't matter what dad has bet. Doesn't matter all the wagers that dad has on the game. Now, yes, I won with the Chiefs. I told you I've been on the Chiefs for a couple weeks. Chiefs money line to Momo House last night, but had a bunch of prop bets. None of them came in. None of my squares, you guys know I love Super Bowl boxes. None of my boxes came in. So overall, we were a loser for the Super Bowl yesterday. Speaking of which, I'm on Driving the Line. That's from my man Jonathan Coachman, A.B. Allen Bell. I'm on Driving the Line every Monday morning live on YouTube. So you can go back and you can watch that, youtube.com/@drivingtheline. So I did good with the Chiefs yesterday, Chiefs money line, but my prop bets that I didn't give them out as picks on Driving the Line. I'm glad I didn't drive anybody in the wrong direction. But as far as me yesterday, I was a loser overall. Not that big a deal. But that game yesterday, it delivered the goods. The second half, ton of drama. We got a ton of storylines coming from it. The Panthers won over the weekend 4-0 over Colorado. Panthers are awesome. Kicked the shit out of the Avalanche. The Heat yesterday, we'll do a little bit of Heat coming up. Heat Celtics. And like I said, the Heat and Celtics right before the Super Bowl, I didn't love the timing of the game because, it was going to determine my mood for the rest of the day. If the Heat lose there, am I going to be annoyed watching the Super Bowl? I wasn't annoyed. I thought the Heat played a really good game. You come up just short against a dirty team in the Boston Celtics. We'll get to that. And the Heat were super shorthanded. So we'll get to that. But obviously we start with the Chiefs. Chiefs win yesterday. Back-to-back Super Bowl champs. The place you have to start is Patrick Mahomes, right? All the talk about Mahomes, Brady, GOAT, all of that stuff. Even if Mahomes had any chance or has any chance of catching Brady, he had to win the game yesterday. Even though it's still early in his career, in Tom Brady's first 3 opportunities, he was 3 for 3 in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes' first 3 opportunities, he was 2-1. He can't, if he's going to catch Brady at 7, he can't waste 2 of his first 4 opportunities. Mahomes, if he has any shot at catching Brady for 7, he had to win that game yesterday. Because just like Brady, we will get to a lull in Mahomes' career where he, believe it or not, where he doesn't appear in the Super Bowl for a few years. I know he's been in the Super Bowl now 4 out of 5 years. There will be a time that comes that he doesn't appear in the Super Bowl for a few years. So if he has any chance of catching Brady, he had to win that game yesterday. So he comes through and wins that game yesterday, but even while winning 3 Super Bowls compared to 7, it still seems like so far away. I don't believe he's ever going to catch Brady. Winning 7 is crazy, but what he can do now, because he won yesterday, is something that Brady has never done. And also something that no one has ever done before. So Brady, if he's won 7, which is something no one's ever done before, if Mahomes doesn't catch that, but can still do something that no one has ever done before, that's a major notch in his belt for being greatest of all time. And what I'm talking about is you can't get to 3 straight Super Bowl wins if you don't first get to 2. By winning back-to-back yesterday, now Mahomes has an opportunity to do something that has literally never been done in the history of the Super Bowl era. And that's win 3 straight Super Bowls. That would obviously give him 4 total. And then, we're on the way to 7. Even if Mahomes won next year, 7 would still, to me, seem really far away. But he'd be on the road, and at least he would have claim to something that not Brady, no one has ever done before. And that's win 3 straight Super Bowls. It's never happened in the Super Bowl era. So if you want to talk about Mahomes, Brady, best ever, all of that stuff, winning 3 in a row is what I would focus on. And that's now in play. That's now available for Mahomes. Here's another, and I think, so the whole year I've been doubting the Chiefs. I raised my hand first. I have doubted the Chiefs the entire season. This is not the same team. This is not the team we've been used to the last few years. They ain't shit come playoff time. When the reality of it is, by the way, you look at who they had to beat to win the Super Bowl. This was a gauntlet. They had to beat the Dolphins, who, look, we could say whatever we want about the Dolphins here at South Florida, but that's a team, had a high-powered offense for most of the season, and you're going up against Tyreek Hill, all right? You had to beat the Dolphins in the wild card game. Then you're on the road at the Bills. That's bad blood. We know how bad the Bills want to beat the Chiefs. Then you're on the road at the number 1 seed and the MVP, the Ravens. And then to win the Super Bowl, you have to beat the team that was the favorite going into the year to win the NFC, the favorite, probably win the whole thing going into the season, and had really been the best team in the league. You want to make a case for Baltimore, fine, for the entire season. Look at that gauntlet that the Chiefs had to go through. Dolphins, at Bills, at Ravens, 49ers. They deserved it. No other way to look at it. They deserve all the praise. So there's going to be criticism on Shanahan for sure. The Chiefs deserve all of your praise. Now, here's the thing. While I've been saying how this is not the same Chiefs team the whole year, that was true. Where I was wrong was that wasn't a good thing. I think it's turned out that this was actually a good thing for the Kansas City Chiefs, that they were heavy defense and not so much on the offensive end. I think this is actually the formula moving forward for the Kansas City Chiefs. Keep spending money on the defense. Keep maintaining an elite defense, because if you have that side of the football that is going to be elite, even when your offense is not elite, which it wasn't this year for Kansas City, you always know your defense is going to keep you in games and in a big spot. Patrick Mahomes is the greatest, and he's always going to come through. Compared to those past Super Bowl winning Chiefs teams that were amazing on offense and their defense stunk, I think this is actually the better formula. This is the more sustainable formula for the Kansas City Chiefs to win more Super Bowls. Let the defense be the better unit. And on the other end, when you need your quarterback to make magical plays because the other guys around him aren't so great, guess what? He's more than capable because he's Patrick Mahomes. So I've been looking at it the wrong way the entire season. This, I think, is the sustainable formula for the Chiefs. Be amazing on defense and rely on your quarterback to be magic. And by the way, the guy who Mahomes is chasing in Tom Brady, this was the formula. I mean, yes, in 2007, it was like the greatest offense ever, and Randy Moss, guess what? They didn't win that year. All the years that the Patriots were winning, great defense. We know the coach, super overrated head coach, but we know the coach is a great defensive coach, great defense. What was always the complaint with Tom Brady? Yes, he had Gronkowski, but the rest of the weapons around him, in the backfield, the receivers, he's got nobody to throw to, and he's still winning. That was the formula that the Patriots used all those years. They're going to be great on defense, and because they have the greatest quarterback ever, he's going to be able to carry them on that side of the football, and he's going to be able to make all the plays when they need him to make all the plays. So I was right about the Chiefs all year long not being the same team, but I was wrong, dead wrong, about that not being the formula to go with moving forward. So Mahomes is, people are going to focus on Shanahan. They're going to want to focus on Purdy. The story's Mahomes. They were down, 10-0. Then they're down 19-16. They're down 22-19. They're down the whole game. The story is Mahomes. And the story was Mahomes. The Chiefs been a terrible second half team this year. Great second half team yesterday. However, you need Mahomes to operate in order to win the big game. He's capable of doing it. They've been terrible in the second half all year. They were great in the second half yesterday. This, to me, feels like the best version of the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a crazy thing to say, right? Considering they won 11 games this year. There have been years they won 13 or 14 games. Statistically, not the best team, certainly on offense. I think this is the best version of the Kansas City Chiefs. I really do. Boy, the first half of this game was the drizzling shits. It was so bad. Now, Kyle Shanahan, if the number one story of the game is Mahomes and the magic, the number two story in the game is Shanahan and overtime. All right, let's get into that. First, though, I love telling you guys, football season's over, but there's plenty of things out there that should pique your interest. There's plenty of things out there that are still going to make you happy. And one of those things that's always going to make you happy is treating yourself to a brand new ride. And you're thinking, ZASLOW, where should I go if I'm looking for a new car or a used car, whatever? I send you to the only car dealership I personally endorse, and that's North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. There's a lot to love at North Fort Lauderdale Subaru this month of February, with incredible offers on all new Subarus in stock, as well as every pre-owned vehicle on their lot. Right now, at North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, you can make zero down payment, make zero payments for 3 months, and make zero security deposit, or you can lease the 2024 Subaru Crosstrek Premium for just $209 a month for 36 months with $54.95 due at signing with approved credit. Go to NFLSubaru.com. That's NFLSubaru.com for full details. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru promises their customers an exceptional experience at their brand new state-of-the-art facility on North Andrews Avenue. You know, it's that beautiful building. You can see it from I-95 at the Cypress Creek Road exit. Go to nflsubaru.com. You could search all the new and pre-owned vehicles right from the comfort of your own home. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, the location you know with an experience you'll love. All right, so if the number one story is Patrick Mahomes, the number two story is Kyle Shanahan. And it's specifically Kyle Shanahan and the overtime. So when the game gets to overtime, Amber Wilson sends me a text. Amber and Ian every night, 7 to 10 p.m. on ESPN Radio. My colleagues. Amber Wilson sends me a text. I told you this game was going to go to overtime. There have been no overtime games yet. And I write her back. I don't know the overtime rules. And I look at my wife, I go, I don't think I know the overtime rules. And she's shocked. My wife, what? Like, yeah, I don't think I know what happens now. And so we know that it's different from the regular season. So if you score a touchdown on your first drive, you win in the regular season, but you're getting the ball no matter what in the playoffs. I didn't know this. Now, obviously, it's one thing for me not to know. It's another thing for the team, for the coach, the players not to know. So let's start out with the players. The players for the 49ers. I mean, remember what a big deal it was that one time? It was a regular season game where Donovan McNabb and the Eagles, Donovan McNabb was like, I didn't know that games can end in a tie. And the game ended in a tie. And he got crushed for it. And that makes sense because maybe you're playing a little bit more careful if you're the quarterback, if you don't know that the game can end in a tie. Maybe there's not as much a sense of urgency because if the clock hits 0, you're going to the second overtime. So I can understand that being a stupid thing. But if you're the 49ers players, you know what a big deal that was made when Donovan McNabb all those years ago didn't know that an overtime can end in a tie. Why are they getting in front of the microphones and saying how they didn't know the rules? Because it's going to make two things happen. Them look stupid and their coach looks stupid. But here's the thing. Like, Kyle Juszczyk was very adamant after the game. He didn't know the overtime rules. He thought that, they get the ball first and they score, the game's going to be over. He didn't know the rules. They didn't go over it with them. Let me tell you something. This is the most overblown post-Super Bowl story you're ever going to hear. This is like, it's making up reasons to be critical of Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. Who the hell cares if Kyle Juszczyk knows that the overtime rules are different in the Super Bowl? Who the hell cares if Kyle Juszczyk doesn't know that if you score a touchdown on the first possession, the game continues? If the 49ers would have scored a touchdown on that opening drive, and then the game keeps going, Chiefs are going to get the ball, what happens? Then what? Does Kyle Juszczyk just run and go, oh, I thought if we get a touchdown, the game's over? Well, guess what, Kyle? It's not. We're still playing. Who the hell cares if the players on the 49ers don't know that the rules are different in the playoffs? How does it change anything? They're still trying to score a touchdown. They're still trying to play defense. Why does it matter if the players don't know that the overtime rules are different? You're still trying to score. You're still trying to play defense. It's different where Donovan McNabb didn't know there was a tie because maybe there's no sense of urgency. Maybe he doesn't care that the clock is running. That makes a difference. Who cares if the players on the 49ers know or don't know the rules in overtime? Are they not trying to score? Are they not trying to defend? The only one that it actually matters, it's not like they did the coin toss and Kyle Juszczyk is out there, and because he doesn't know that both teams get the ball even if the 49ers score a touchdown first, and so he decides we want the ball first, that would be a different story. Number one, I don't know that he was even out there for the coin toss. Number two, the coach, Kyle Shanahan, decides if they want the ball first. The only one where it matters if they know the change in rules in overtime is the coach. Now, maybe you want to say you don't think Kyle Shanahan knew the rules. We'll never know. But the only one who needs to know the change in rules is the coach. So the players saying they didn't know that there was a different rule in the postseason is such an overblown story. It doesn't matter. Who cares if the fullback doesn't know that if they score a touchdown on the first drive, the game's not actually over? Why does that matter? Arik Armstead said after the game as well, he didn't know that it was different either. So, were you not trying to play defense? On the drive that the Kansas City Chiefs scored, did you let them score a touchdown on that drive because somehow you thought the game was going to continue? I mean, that makes no sense. Even if the rules are the same, you got a field goal, now you're on defense. If they score, the game's over. If the rules are the same. And guess what? The game's also over in the new rules. So, why does it matter if Arik Armstead knows or doesn't know that the rules are different? Play defense. Don't let them score. Who cares if the stupid fullback knows if the rules are different? Score a touchdown. It doesn't matter. The only one who it matters is Kyle Shanahan. And he didn't tell you he didn't know the rules. There's no reason to believe he didn't know the rules. Now, do you like the strategy of taking the ball first with the new rules in overtime? That's a discussion to be had. Now, Kyle Shanahan said he liked taking the ball first. Now, is there a little bit because his defense was just out on the field for a long drive, Kansas City didn't want to put his defense back out there right away and they'd be tired? That could be a reason. That's not what he said. He said because they wanted the ball third. And I know that sounds like you can nitpick at that. Want the ball third? Don't you got to worry about the first couple possessions? What he's saying there is he'd like to get a touchdown on the first drive, and then if the Chiefs match it, you get the ball back now with a chance to win it with any kind of score. Like he wants two. If they're going to be 3 possessions, he wants 2 of them. That's what he's saying there. But I still think it's a flawed strategy. If you get the ball first, and the rules are different, if you get the ball first and score a touchdown, and the other team can still get a touchdown to tie the game or maybe go for 2, a couple things. You want the other team to get the ball first. So if they do score a touchdown, you at least, 2 things, have the decision to win the game right there and go for 2, which I think they would have if that were the case. But more importantly, you want the other team to get the ball first. So, A, no matter what happens, you know what you need. But B, more importantly, you have 4 downs. And you saw Mahomes had 4 downs. They had to pick up a 4th down in their own territory on that drive. I mean, it was first down, second down, third down, 4th down right away, and they had to pick it up. You want the 4 downs. If you have the ball first and you're in your own territory and you're faced with a 4th down, you might punt the ball away and then try and play defense to get the ball back. Because if you don't pick it up, field goal, boom, game's over. If the other team gets a touchdown, you know you need a touchdown. You know you're in 4-down territory. It's not only knowing what you need, but you get an extra down if you get the ball second. That team that got the ball first, they're not necessarily getting an extra down. You know, the 49ers, on that 4th down, they decided to kick a field goal. If they got the ball second and they know what they need, they can operate in 4 downs the entire series. So the Chiefs, they knew what they needed, even though it's just a field goal, but they knew what they needed. So they're in 4 downs every time. And if you have the ball and you get to operate with an extra down that entire series compared to what the other team was able to operate with, that's a massive advantage. So if you want to weigh getting the ball 2 out of 3 times in overtime versus being able to operate with an extra down, you need the extra down. It's such an advantage for the Chiefs yesterday. And you saw, they used the extra down, pick up a first, I mean, they had to, but they used the extra down, pick up a first down, and they were able to keep it moving. So that's where Shanahan's getting all the criticism. That's where I would be critical, is he knew the rules. I didn't like his strategy. I understand what he's trying to do there, getting the ball 2 out of 3 times. You want to operate in 4 downs. You want an extra down. So that's where I think Shanahan is deserving of the criticism. But the players not knowing the new overtime rules, who gives a shit? Why does that matter? It doesn't matter. It's such an overblown story. It doesn't matter at all. Now, the criticism of Shanahan, he can't win the big game. That shit's lazy, man. It's lazy and it's not fair. It's not fair because the 3 Super Bowls he's lost, 2 of them as head coach, the 3 Super Bowls that he's lost were against Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. He can't win the big game against the 2 greatest quarterbacks of all time. We're going to be critical of him not winning the big game. Again, it's like being critical of Karl Malone for not being able to win the NBA Finals when the 2 times he was there was against Michael Jordan. You know, he lost the Super Bowl 3 times against the 2 greatest quarterbacks ever. That criticism is not fair. The second part, the lazy part, is if Kyle Shanahan would have lost 2 weeks ago, if the Niners wouldn't have made the big comeback against the Lions, we wouldn't be critical about Kyle Shanahan not winning the big game because he never got to the big game. Like, it's worse to get to the big game and lose than lose early in the playoffs. And that's stupid. It's like LeBron James gets the criticism for being 4-6 in the finals. Like, you'd rather him be 4-2. Let me ask you something, what's better? Winning 6 conference championships or winning 10 conference championships? And the answer is obviously winning 10 conference championships. And that's why being 4-6 in the finals is a lot better than being 4-2 in the finals. Being 4-100 in the finals is better than being 4-2 in the finals. You've done more winning that way, but we don't criticize like that. So Kyle Shanahan, he's getting the criticism for being 0-3 in the Super Bowl when if he's never made it to the Super Bowl, we wouldn't be criticizing him that he can't win the big game. And that's stupid. It's so hard to get to the Super Bowl. It's even harder to win the Super Bowl, and being more critical of him for losing the Super Bowl than we would have if he lost in, say, the wild card round. That's stupid. But Shanahan's getting a ton of heat today. I mean, the fact that he's getting criticized for, again, losing a Super Bowl. We don't talk about Marv Levy like that. Marv Levy was 0-4. Lost 4 straight Super Bowls. It's an amazing feat to get to 4 straight Super Bowls, even though you lose them. We don't talk about Marv Levy like that. Can't win the big game. Getting to the Super Bowl is amazing. It's so hard to win. You know what's not hard? Making sure you're having a good time while you're watching any game. And even though there's no more football, we got the NBA, we got the NHL, we got WWE, we got MMA. How you can enjoy all the action? Well, you know, in the ZASLOW Mansion, we enjoy with the official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0, Johnny Cuba. You know what I'm talking about, European roots with that Caribbean soul, a refreshing German lager in a can. I stopped by Winn-Dixie yesterday, got myself ready for the game last night, picked up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba. You know what I'm talking about. Pick up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba yourself, your local Winn-Dixie, Sedanos, Presidente, Fresco y Mas. I love when you're trying Johnny Cuba for the very first time, and you video, and then you send it to me. I put it up on Instagram. I'm an influencer, so then you're famous, and I get all the monies, and my man Juan from Johnny Cuba, he loves seeing a new guy trying Johnny Cuba for the very first time. Pick up a 6-pack of Johnny for yourself. Enjoy the game on your couch. Always drink responsibly. And of course, don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra. Stay tranquilo.